In this problem, I looked up the answer, and we are trying to show that 1 over 1 plus cosine minus 1 over 1 minus cosine, we want to show that that is equivalent to negative 2 cotan x cosecant x. So one of the things that you can do to help yourself prove an identity is to get a common denominator. And I'm noticing here that I've got two terms on this side and only one term on this side. So if I were to get a common denominator and combine the fractions here on the left, I can make one fraction and then hopefully it'll turn out to be what I have on the right. So I need to get a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom of this fraction by 1 minus cosine x. And then I'm going to multiply top and bottom of the other fraction by 1 plus cosine x. So the first fraction is going to be 1 minus cosine over the 1 plus cosine times 1 minus cosine. And the second fraction is going to be 1 plus cosine over the 1 minus cosine times 1 plus cosine. Now, 1 minus cosine would then be, I would subtract from it 1 plus cosine when I combine the two fractions together. And then my denominator, if I FOIL it, it's going to be 1 and then a plus cosine and then a minus cosine. So that's going to add up to 0. And then a negative cosine squared x. And so my numerator is going to be 1 minus 1 is 0. And the negative cosine minus cosine is negative 2 cosine x. So we're going to get a negative 1 minus cosine here. So the 1 and the negative 1 go to 0, and the negative cosine x and the negative cosine x become negative 2 cosine x's. Now, if we remember, sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So if I subtract cosine squared from each side, 1 minus cosine squared is equal to sine squared. And I'm using this because I'm trying to get the negative cotan x cosecant x. And I've successfully got a common denominator and combined the fractions. And now I want to see if I can rewrite this or reduce it if I can get negative 2 cotan cosecant. What I like is I do have a negative 2 already. And now my numerator is negative 2 cosine and my denominator is sine squared. So let's write that as negative 2 cosine over sine times sine. And if we look at that a little bit, cosine over sine is cotan. And 1 over sine is cosecant. So that's actually cotan times cosecant times the negative 2. So we have proven this identity true.